presentation, because sometimes the acoustics can be a little tricky in here.
Okay. I probably won't need the mic. Can everybody hear me?
Yeah.
Drew, do you need the mic?
No, I don't believe so, as long as you speak clearly and people
Okay.
aren't interrupting you.
Yeah, if you have cell phones, turn them off. This is being recorded, so people who couldn't be here can also get this information. So if you would turn your cell phones off and keep your conversations to a minimum, that would be really helpful.
Thank you, Suzanne. I want to thank Suzanne for inviting me to speak to you today. My name is John O'Rourke. Company name is Good Energy. We've worked with the town of Hadley now for a number of years to put this program together. This is a community electricity aggregation. Essentially what that means is that the town has said we'd like to aggregate the load of all our residents and businesses who are on the basic service with Eversource, and to go out to a competitive bid with national suppliers and see if we can get a lower rate than Eversource will give us. Okay, that's one of the objectives of this. What I'd like to do is just run through this presentation, and then I'll open it up for questions. All right. Some of you may have seen an article in the Gazette that appeared on Saturday that talked about this program. As I said, we've been working with the town now for at least 3 years to put this into place. Did everybody receive one of these letters?
No.
No? Okay. All right, I'll tell you more about that later. But this is the customer notification letter that went out to all residents who are on the basic service of Eversource. Okay, so if you didn't get one of these, I'll explain that later. All right, what is community electricity aggregation? Essentially, what you're doing is you're forming a buying group to go out to bid collectively. It's just, it's just like, many of you probably belong to Costco or BJ's or Sam's or some other buying group. This is what it's about. It's just putting the loads together for all the residents and businesses on the basic service of Eversource and going out to a competitive bid. In Massachusetts, this is how municipal aggregation or community electricity aggregation has grown. You can see it remained somewhat steady since 2000 when it was first initiated. And then Good Energy came into the market in 2014. And we woke up the competition, and you can see how things have gone. And the number of households right now in aggregations is substantial. This is just some graphical information about the Eversource residential basic service here in Western Massachusetts. You can see by that trend line that prices have steadily moved up in the last 10 years, and because of other factors in the Commonwealth, they're expected to remain on the incline. My company, Good Energy, is a national company. We're involved in every state that has municipal aggregation. We're the leader in the country in this product. We're also the leader here in Massachusetts. Right now, we have 41 active aggregations. We have one pending a bid, which will go out probably in the next couple of weeks. And we have a couple more that are going through the process with the Department of Energy Resources and the Department of Public Utilities. One thing you need to know, the town didn't do this on its own. Okay, everything the town did, everything we did, had to be approved by the Department of Energy Resources and the Department of Public Utilities. That process for Hadley took about a year to get through that regulatory process. What happens is that they look at the plan that we put together, and essentially right now, there are about 147 municipalities in the Commonwealth, out of 304 that are eligible to become aggregated. almost half, okay, they all have approved aggregation plans. So essentially, you know, you're not alone in this. Hadley's not alone. Many communities are doing this. Both Boston and Worcester, who are the two largest municipalities in the Commonwealth, are now moving toward aggregating the loads of their residents. So you're in good company. If you're in the program, you can leave the program at any time without penalty or termination fees. All right, I'm sure that some of you have gotten offers from on the phone, mail, from companies, that may be. I'm going to go through some frequently asked questions that you probably all have on your mind, okay? And again, I already mentioned this, what an aggregation is. It's simply a buying group, okay? And everybody understands that concept of bulk buying to lower unit price. The goals of aggregation: first, longer-term electricity price stability. You know that your Eversource rates change every 6 months. They bounce up and down. What this does is give you a stable rate for a longer period of time. For Hadley, we had to do something a little bit more creative because we started the program here in July rather than in the fall when we usually start programs. We did what's known as a step, where we did a 4-month price and then it steps up for the rest of the contract. And this is a contract that goes until, it's a 27-month contract. So essentially, it starts out with 4 months at 9,746, and then it goes up to 10,1 after those first 4 months. So August is the start. We're in the period now that's called the opt-out period. You go through this period and you get a choice of either staying in the program or not. As of August meter read, everybody who wants to be in the program gets switched over to the supplier, which is Direct Energy. They were the winning bidder out of 4 suppliers that bid for the load here in Hadley. One of our objectives, obviously, is reduced electricity prices. We have to put in the caveat that savings cannot be guaranteed. That's a rule that the Department of Public Utilities wants us to put in every time we mention the word savings. I can tell you historically of all of our aggregations here in Massachusetts have saved their residents money. All of our aggregations nationally have saved our customers money. There is a renewable energy option that you see in the plan for those people who are very concerned about more renewable energy in the mix that you get. There's a 100% premium option, and to get into that, you would call Direct Energy. One thing about the green programs that we put together, we deal with Green Energy Consumers Alliance out of Boston. They are the gold standard here in Massachusetts for supplying Massachusetts Class 1 renewable energy certificates. And what that means basically is they're the best, it's the best renewable energy that's produced here in the Commonwealth and in New England. There's no biomass included in that, for those of you who understand more about green energy. And again, what these programs do, they protect you from some of these calls you get from unscrupulous suppliers, okay? What you never want to do, if you get a phone call and they say, oh, I need your account number to see if you qualify for the program. You never give out your account number, okay? Number one, never give out your account number because you'll get switched over without your knowledge. Probably the most popular question we get, why is it an opt-out program rather than an opt-in program? Okay, a lot of people are disturbed by the fact that it's opt-out. The short answer for that is because that's the way the law was written. And Massachusetts, Massachusetts had the first municipal aggregation law in the country. Every other successful aggregation law has been based on the Massachusetts law. There's a very good reason why it's opt-out rather than opt-in. There's a very good business reason. That being, the suppliers that bid on our aggregations know that we're going to get 85% of the eligible load in a town, give or take 1 or 2 percentage points. So they know exactly what they're bidding on, okay, with an opt-out program. If it was opt-in, they wouldn't know whether they were getting 85%, 60%, 50%, 40%, and they wouldn't know what they were bidding on. And some of them wouldn't even bother bidding. For any of you who have been in business where you've had to bid and had to bid on specs, you realize you need quality and accurate specs to do a good bid. Same thing here in the energy industry. And essentially, this is a very complex business. You know, when we flip the switch and the lights go on, that's all we need to know. But in the background, there are all kinds of things going on. Trading energy, generating energy, okay, it's very complex. So these big suppliers have to know exactly what they're bidding on when they bid on a town's load. So essentially, that's the reason why it's opt-out rather than opt-in. Okay, how does your relationship with Eversource change? It doesn't change. You still get an Eversource bill. They continue to service the account, to service the infrastructure, and you get one bill. Okay. For those of you who might have solar panels and you have a net metering agreement with Eversource, there's no impact on your agreement with Eversource. You continue to have that agreement with them. You continue to get the market rate from Eversource when you're selling electricity, and whatever you're not using from your solar panels, you get through the aggregation. If you're involved in a discount program, the discount program stays in place. That's not disturbed at all because, again, that comes from the distribution side of the bill, not the supply side of the bill. So there's no impact on discount programs. How do you know if you're benefiting from the program? Well, certainly you see in the opt-out letter that the rate for the aggregation is below the current Eversource rate, or actually the rate that Eversource starts July 1, which is 9,851 per kilowatt hour. Okay. The aggregation for that first 4 months is 9,746, so it's a little below. Certainly, you know the Eversource rates during the winter go up a bit. So we're going to maintain that rate, that 10.1 rate for the rest of the contract, and we're expecting it to be below the Eversource rate. Again, as I mentioned before, there's no termination fee or penalties if you want to get out of the program at any time. If you want to come back into the program, you can come back into the program. For those of you who might be on a competitive supplier now, when your contract ends, you can call the supplier of the program, which is direct, and you can come into the program. Or you can go to the website. We have a website that you can enroll that way, or opt out. All right, this is what your Eversource bill looks like. You will continue to get the same bill. The only thing that changes is the name of the supplier right here under supplier. Everything else remains the same, and of course the price is going to be different. But everything else on the bill remains the same. Eversource continues to service the account. Again, this is the copy of the
You're not the supplier, you're contracting to a supplier, as I understand it. So how do you, I mean, I want the electricity now. I want them to have a plan for, you know, gauging the demand as we know it should be. And Eversource obviously does that very well, at least from my perspective. So how do you take care of that?
Okay, doing the whole New England grid is controlled by an organization called ISO New England. They're the independent service organization that controls the entire grid and the amount of electricity that's being generated and demanded in the grid. If you went to see their facility, which is top secret, okay, it's down in Holyoke, you can't get in there unless your whole room looks like something out of NASA, okay? Being generated, the amount being demanded, and trying to mount, you can't save electricity. They control all that. Energy does. They put a certain amount of energy into the grid, okay? Hadley, all right? You will never be in a situation where you won't have electricity, okay? Because essentially the operational side of this is that the ISO runs this for the utilities and for any other suppliers. You're always going to have electricity. It's not like, ABC supply company goes out of business tomorrow, you won't have electricity. Doesn't happen. This operational side always works. So you always get electricity. So you don't have to worry about who the supplier is. Okay? Other questions, ma'am?
I have a question about the rate. You were talking about the fact that the rate is not guaranteed. Does it ever go above Eversource? And if it does, how do we get that information to know whether we should be in or out?
All right, you can see on the customer notification letter, for that first 4 months, it'll be 9,746, okay? And then it goes up to 10,1, okay, for the rest of the contract. It'll stay at that rate.
But how do we know what Eversource's is for comparison?
Well, the Eversource rate is on here as well,
That's
okay?
for this 4 months, but
Yes.
after this 4 months, how do we get that information?
At the beginning of the year, there's a place on the website where you can check that, and that is going to be updated on the website as well. So you can look at the website for that, or you can go directly to Eversource.
So we constantly have to keep checking to see whether your rate is lower or higher.
You don't have to keep it. It happens every 6 months, and based on historical information, you're going to see the Eversource rate go above our rate. Other questions? Ma'am?
Can a household outside of the Hadley town participate in this program?
Only those households within the boundaries of Hadley for this aggregation. Which community are you talking about?
Amherst.
Amherst. Okay. Amherst hasn't gone out for aggregation yet. They've been studying it. They're talking about going out with Northampton together for an aggregation, but they haven't gone anywhere with it yet. Other questions? Sir?
What's it going to save me? How much is it going to save me?
Most of our aggregations are saving somewhere around 10–12%. That's what we aim for. Sir?
After July 1, how much will the rate go down? In other words, from what Eversource is charging us to what you charge us?
All right,
Per
the rate,
kilowatt.
the rate here in the letter is the rate for Eversource starting July 1. That's the 9851, and we're at 9746.
So that's 1/10 of a cent.
For that first 4 months, it's that much. Then you're going to see the Eversource rates go up. Sir?
Will there be any additional fees for infrastructure use or transmission servicing?
No. No additional fees. This price stays the same for their first 4 months, then it goes up slightly for the next, let's see, this is a 27-month contract. For the next 23 months, it goes to 10/1, okay? And it stays at that for that whole term. Ma'am?
I'd be very interested in taking a look at the profit margin of Eversource versus Good Energy. Are your financial statements available somewhere?
You can check our site, goodenergy.com.
Does that mean yes or no?
Well, you can check our site for that.
Are you a publicly traded company?
Well, no, we're not. We're private partnership.
And I assume you're not for-profit, not-for-profit.
We are for profit.
I
Yes.
assume,
Yes.
all right.
If there's chance to be given, why doesn't Eversource give them instead? They're going on through aggregation.
One of the advantages that aggregations have is that we can go out to bid at different times of the year. Eversource is locked into 2 times of the year where they get a rate for 50% of their load for the next year. So they're always overlapping, but depending on they can go out in the market. It might be a bad market. They don't have a choice. They have to go out to bid. As long as they're following the correct process, DPU isn't concerned about the price, whereas we go out to bid at strategic times of the year, so we have an advantage that way. Sir?
I'm already receiving green energy from the Green Energy Alliance.
Okay.
What advantages does your green energy have over theirs? And what's the difference in the rate between the dirty energy and the clean?
Well, certainly, if you look, did you get one of these? No, you did. Okay. You can, if you just subtract the 9746 from the 12097, that's the difference. Okay. And do you know Larry Cretion, who's with Green Energy Consumers Alliance? Okay. All right. They're going to be slightly cheaper with the aggregation than they are on an individual basis. You can call them and verify that. Questions? Ma'am?
Why should we trust your company instead of other companies? Like, I get letters once every other month, oh, Dominion, why should we trust your company more than those people who are suppliers?
Well, you can compare the rates of this program with the rates of any other supplier who's active in Massachusetts.
But why would you say we should trust you?
Well, because we have a track record nationally, we have a track record in Massachusetts. As I said, we have 41 aggregations in municipalities with over 1 million people.
And is that 41 aggregations including Hadley?
Yes, it is.
How long have you been in business?
Originally started in 2000 as mostly a commercial industrial energy broker. We also deal in natural gas in other areas of the country. We got into aggregation in 2011. Other questions?
Aren't your applications in reverse, that you're having if you approve, you don't do anything. And if you disapprove, you send your application in. Isn't that just the opposite?
Well, again, that's the way the law is written. It's written as an opt-out rather than an opt-in. Okay? That's the way the law is written.
Yeah, you get many phone calls, disappointed people. I didn't know about this.
Well, you know, oddly enough, we do get phone calls from people who are disturbed by that, but then we also get phone calls from people who say, you know what, I like this because I don't have to do anything, and I understand the program, and I'm going to be in it, but I don't have to do anything. So we get both pro and con on that. Other questions, ma'am?
Do you have any just general ideas on, how much does the town of Hadley save by being part of this aggregate? I mean, that's obviously an indirect savings to us. If the town saves money. So is there some formula or whatever that you help the town with?
The program goes through the town, because again, that's the way the law is written. The rationale behind that when the law was written was the best organizing facility within any municipality is the municipal government. That's why it goes through the town. The town does not benefit from this. It's only the residents and businesses.
The town tax rate on the town rate on electricity goes down like the residential, doesn't it?
The town, what most municipalities do, okay, this is a residential program. Most municipalities have already gone out to bid for their municipal accounts because they're commercial accounts and they're different than the residential accounts. Okay. Sir?
I currently have a different supplier than Eversource. How will I find out if Good Energy is better than the one I have?
Well, you can see that on your bill. You can see the rate under supplier. Do you have a rate there?
I don't know, because I haven't paid a bill in 3 months. I have solar.
Okay, okay. That's why. All right, but do you see your rate there?
No, I don't see a rate.
Okay, so you haven't paid a bill in 3 months because you have solar.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's great. That's great.
And I probably won't pay for a few more months.
Well, that's good. That's good. Which company are you with? Other
With Starring.
Starion?
Yeah.
Okay. Check the rate, compare it against the aggregation, and if you want, and if there's no termination fee, and you see this is a better rate, and I think it will be, you can come into the program. Okay? So, ma'am?
What are the renewable energy sources other than biomass? It says qualified Massachusetts Class 1 renewable energy sources. Is that just all solar? What is that?
Most of the Massachusetts Class 1 recs that we get from Green Energy Consumers Alliance are wind. In Massachusetts, Rhode Island, I believe there's one in Maine. Okay, we have a little bit of solar in there and a little bit of anaerobic digestion.
So there are wind
Cow
farms
power.
in Massachusetts. What are the wind farms?
Well, there aren't any. There are individual turbines around the Commonwealth
In Massachusetts, Rhode Island,
and Maine. Yes.
so is Vermont part of this whole grid too?
They're part of the grid, but we don't have any generating assets in Vermont.
And how does Eversource? They can't say that these things can't happen. I mean, it seems to me Eversource would not want these things, this aggregate.
Since divestiture back in 1998, the local utilities had to divest themselves of all generation assets. Okay, Eversource makes no money on the supply, no matter where it comes from. Eversource only makes money on maintaining the system, the infrastructure, billing, and delivering the electricity. They don't care where it comes from.
It just seems like there's a lot of middlemen here. Like you're good energy, but you're going through direct energy, and you know it's.
Well, we're the aggregation consultants that put this together. Direct Energy is the one that won the bid. They're a generator, okay, and the town residents and businesses are the beneficiaries.
When you say they're a, what did you just say? The generator, direct energy is the
Direct
generator.
Energy, yes.
Meaning what?
Meaning they generate the electricity.
Through power plants, through, I don't understand.
Yes.
If I don't change this current supplier, when the program begins, will I automatically be opt-in?
No, no. You didn't get a
I didn't get a
customer
letter.
notification letter. Only those who are eligible to be in the program are with basic
So
service.
I need to leave this one to go to that one.
That's correct, yes.
Will we be
Miss?
getting,
I have solar also, I have Vivint. And I'm wondering, do I have to opt out of this? I did get a letter.
Okay.
Do I have to opt out of it if I want to stay with the Vivint, or do I?
No, you're going to get some of your electricity from the grid,
Right.
okay? And that will be from the aggregation, and whatever your other contract is independent, stays in place.
I get those from Eversource too, but I haven't paid anything for more than 3 months.
That's great.
I've had a credit for over a year.
That's great. Miss?
I was just wondering, are we going to be getting 2 bills
No, one bill.
from Eversource?
The only thing on your bill that changes is the name of the supplier, right here in the supplier line. Everything else stays the same. Sir?
You said that the green energy options are all from generated in Massachusetts?
Alliance has assets in Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and Maine right now, and they're looking to develop more.
So not necessarily in Massachusetts, but in the United States. Did you know offhand if any of the solar energy is produced here by any of our solar farms?
They have, Green Energy Consumers Alliance doesn't have much in the way of solar. The reason being because you have solar renewable energy credits that right now are priced at about $250, whereas wind recs, those from wind generation, are about $25, $26. Okay, so you get the same benefit for about a tenth of the price by going with wind rather than going with solar. Sir?
Yeah, on that bill, there are two portions. One is for electricity and the other is delivery fees.
That's correct.
Recall.
Delivery stays the same.
What do we expect to see happen with those fees?
Those
Delivery fees.
are Eversource fees.
So
We're only dealing with the supply portion of the bill. Sir?
I was listening to a radio program recently, and the speaker terminated. He says, well, for the aggregation, the few pennies you may make or you may not, it's not worth the program.
There are all kinds of opinions out there. You could talk to some of our clients who are very happy with our programs.
Can you give me your telephone number again?
It's 413-548-0999.
Thank you.
Other questions? Okay, thank you very much for coming. And any questions you have, please call me.
$20 for the conference.